This is a video of me hardening off my tomato plants. Just got them all set out. There's over 188 tomatoes, and there's 28 different varieties. There's some watermelon, some cucumbers, cantaloupe, got some basil, some peppers, different kinds, jalapenos. There's some dill, some more peppers, different varieties, about 5 different varieties. There's a grand bell pepper plant that I started back in January. It's pretty big. There's more tomatoes. There's some cucamelons. I'm hardening them off, like I said. And then there's some more tomatoes. A little bit of yellow on the leaves. I don't know what's going on with there, but then we got some rhubarb that I've started from seed. And we got some inside there where's some thyme that I started. And then we got broccoli down here in that tray. Some more tomatoes, of course. And these are dwarf tomatoes. They're top hats and tiny Tims. Some sweet basil that I already planted. Some blueberry bushes that I just planted yesterday. And here's some tiny Tim tomato plant. It's a dwarf. And there's a grand bell pepper I started back in January. Alright, and here's some more bell peppers, jalapeno peppers, different varieties that's in these trays. And there's some tiny Tims and top hats and some robins, I believe. And then there in the back row some grand bell peppers that I started back in January. They're even bearing fruit. Some of them are even bearing fruit already. But that's what happens when you plant them in January. And there's some more dwarf tomato plants, different varieties. There's like 5 different varieties. I can't remember all the names. And there's a Cherokee purple. I already planted it. Then out there is turnips and radishes that I planted, and there's in between them I planted the pepperoncinis. There's like 40 something of them. Yeah, it's a lot of them, but I'm making salsa this year. I'm a single person, but I ain't got nothing better to do, and I'll give a lot of the produce to my brother and his family and so on. And I can a lot. Alright, then we'll go. This is a row of Swiss chard. It hasn't came up yet, barely leaves. And then you got head lettuce that's just starting to come up. Then you got carrots that's just coming up. And there's the turnips, the pepperoncinis. Then you got radishes. Then there's a row of red beets. I can't remember their variety. Then we got a row of onions right here, and those are candy onions. And these onions right here are Walla Walla onions. And I got a 40-foot row of everything. And here we got a 40-foot row of potatoes. They're Yukon Golds. They're starting to come out of the ground. There's 2 rows of it. 1 row there and 1 row here. And they're just starting to come out of the ground now. And way in the back corner is my sweet potatoes. That patch that I'm going to have. hopefully I can control it. This is my first time growing sweet potatoes. And a lot of this stuff right here. But tomatoes and green beans. And then now I got green beans planted in this, and it'll go up the trellis and go up above, and it'll go down up and down this tunnel that I built. And then I got pole beans, Kentucky pole beans right here, and Kentucky pole beans right here. Then I got lima beans growing there. Then I got Kajari melons that's going to grow there. And there's all different kinds, like long beans and that stuff that hasn't came up yet. But that's about the tour of that. And this is, everybody's probably wondering, where in the hell is all these tomatoes going to go? I like growing tomatoes. I love growing tomatoes. But anyway, I got this idea from Roots and Refuge, if I'm saying it right, about making their rows. And I got 40-foot rows that of fence that I'm gonna train my tomatoes down. And I got 20 rows of that, and they're 4 foot apart. I hope that's far enough apart, but I will be doing pruning. And there it is. Then the outside of the perimeter here, as you can see, is all of my asparagus patch that I started last year. And it goes like a U shape of the whole garden. Well, half of the garden, but it goes in a U shape. Down this way, then back down that way, then down at the outside perimeter. 4 foot. And I planted like 2,000 seeds, and they're starting to come up now this year, and last year a little bit too. And then I planted some roots also. But here's, you can see where my row of tomatoes, I'm going to start growing them up that, and I placed the cattle panel up 24 inches, so that way when it grows up, I'll start attaching it to the trellis and start training it. But I can usually fit about 20 on each row. So 20 times 20 is 200. I love growing. I grew everything that you see by seed. Nothing has been bought other than the seed. I grew everything. And I grew it in the house with my grow lights. They're T5s. And then I got my greenhouse here, where everything comes in here. For the past month, they've been growing in here. And now, like I said, we have better weather here in Streator, Illinois, and I can be able to take and start hardening off my plants, which they say it takes 7 to 14 days, but 7 is going to be enough. But I heard a trick that if you bring it out on a cloudy day and leave it out all night, and then if it's cloudy for the next 3 days, you're going to be okay to just leave it outside if it's going to be cloudy for 3 days. That's what I heard, but we'll see. But I ain't taking a chance. It took me a lot to grow all this. All right. That's my video, and I hope you enjoyed. Take care. Bye now.